Welcome back to another video. After a trending story that Brown Mogotsi is linked to Senzo Mchunu, the Minister of Police, some revelations came further saying that the surname Mogotsi also is being shared by the spokesperson of Senzo Mchunu, the Minister of Police, who is named Kamogelo Mogotsi. So people were saying it's not a coincidence that they are sharing the same surname. They are saying that these two are definitely related. But it turns out that it might not be true, guys. It might be a coincidence after Kamogelo Mogotsi responded to someone who asked her whether or not they are related to Brown Mogotsi. Brown Mogotsi is a kingpin and happens to be related to Kamogelo Mogotsi, who is the spokesperson of Senzo Mchunu. The person who investigated said, "Since investigative journalists are sleeping on duty, we took an initiative." Kamogelo Mogotsi, the spokesperson in the Ministry of Police, confirms that she is not related to Brown Mogotsi and have never met. As you guys can see on the text, she was asked, "Good morning, Kamogelo. Are you related to Brown Mogotsi and what's your relationship with him?" "Good morning, Kamogelo here. I'm not related to said individual. I do not know him and have never met him. Thank you." So this proves Guti it's a coincidence if she did not lie. Unless she lied, but guys, something is really dodgy here. But we don't know. Even this tweet was trending about Kamogelo, that she started LLB at University of Pretoria from 2009 to 2012. So people were asking whether anyone knows her from during that period, 2009 to 2012. Because they are trying to make sure Guti they link Brown Mogotsi and the Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu using Kamogelo, the spokesperson, because they are sharing the same surname, Mogotsi. Now on the next one, guess what guys, Herman Mashaba had heated back and forth with Rutendo. This guy on Twitter who always say some bullshit things, he said that they have to deport him because he has been behaving like it's his own country. He started going off at Rutendo's tweets because Rutendo has been attacking General Kawanazi and criticizing him. Herman Mashaba said, firstly, go and freely exercise your freedom of speech in your own country. Go and be loud as possible. Wow. On another tweet, he said, at the earliest opportunity, this Rutendo fellow must be the first batch of those to be the mass deportation program. The problem with this Rutendo guy is the fact that people are saying he's criticizing Kawanazi, who is fixing the country and making sure he takes down kingpins and corrupt ministers. That's where people drew the line. They were like, this Rutendo guy must rise. Not only Herman Mashaba wanted to deport him, but many other South Africans want him to be deported because he is so arrogant. Listen to what he said.
This is General Kawanazi, a man that South Africans love so much because he is killing criminals in KZN. They even love him more now that he's actually gone into the public domain and made allegations about how it is that there is so much corruption within the police force, the judiciary, the prosecutors, politicians, and the entire system of power within South Africa. He went to the public to make allegations about criminality without actually arresting those that are undertaking the crimes, yet he is the one that has power as a commissioner to arrest such people. Now, I want to understand a few things. That if Kawanazi was so good at his job, has he reduced crime in KwaZulu-Natal? Because I come from a country where we have zero tolerance for criminality, and criminals all across the continent know not to come into our country to screw up because they understand that they will not get away with crime. But we did not achieve that by shooting criminals to death. We achieved it by making sure that we've got a very solid intelligence gathering system and also a very powerful and educated investigative team that can create dockets that when they go to the judiciary, they are very difficult for prosecutors and the judiciary to not find the people guilty. So people don't get away with crime in my country, but we do not achieve that by shooting them to death. We also do not achieve that by going to the public to report criminality within the system. our police officers and crime fighters arrest criminals irrespective of whoever they are and put them into prison. Hence, there is no crime. But here's the very big problem. MKHWANAZI was part of the executive leadership of the South African police for probably close to 20 years. And the question is, when he was part of the management of the police, what did this man do to ensure that they hired the right people, they had an intelligence system, they had investigators who know what they're doing, and eliminating and weeding out these criminals that he's now talking about? What did he do about weeding out corrupt judges and corrupt politicians and the corrupt syndicates that he is talking about for the past 20 years for him to be complaining today? And here's what is really problematic. He decided to racialize crime and to make crime about race or nationality when he said that the problem of crime in South Africa is a black problem. But we all know that the organized crime that brings in the drugs into South Africa, the one that starts from Western Cape, is not black. We know very well that the Western Cape has some of the most serious gang violence and organized violence because the white people who come from mafia groups, Italian mafia, the J mafia, the Russian mafia, all sorts of mafias, the Bulgarian mafias, are the people that are bringing in the drugs into this country because blacks in South Africa and Africa do not have the capacity to grow the cocaine plant. They do not have the capacity to grow the poppy seeds. They do not have the capacity to produce any of the drugs that are being taken in South Africa. So why doesn't Nhlanhla talk about the J Mafia, Italian Mafia, Russian Mafia, British Mafia? Why doesn't he talk about them? Why did he make it a black problem? The firearms that go into gangland have been said to be coming from white police officers and foreign organized criminals. Why didn't he talk about those? Then he condemned the entire police force and talked about how it is that he's working with private security companies, many of which are foreign and belong to Western military wings or military companies that go and fight wars and kill brown and black people all across the continent. The ADTs are not South African. Companies like Fidelity are not South African. The G4S is actually a military company of the British. And there are many that belong to Mossad too. Why doesn't he denounce them, and why does he want to fight crime with foreign companies, and many of which associated to organized crime during apartheid that brought drugs into black communities?
Although some of the things that he says actually do make sense, he doesn't want to give General Kawanazi benefit of the doubt. He doesn't believe that there is a clean cop who is not corrupt because he's making something out of nothing. The fact that Kawanazi is working with private companies doesn't mean Kawanazi is plotting something behind closed doors. It doesn't necessarily always mean that. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, notification bell.